Hey everyone, Victor is here, your organic chemistry tutor, and if I ask you to draw a 3D representation of the ethylene molecule, C₂H₄ molecule, showing the pi orbitals, you would probably draw something like this. You would draw a couple of carbons in the middle connected by a double bond, then the 4 hydrogens, 2 are on the wedge and 2 are on the dash, where the wedged hydrogens are looking at you from the plane of paper, and the dashed hydrogens looking away from you, they are behind the paper. And of course, when it comes to our pi bond and the p orbitals making that pi bond, you would likely show those orbitals like so, implying the overlap between orbitals like so, which going to signify the pi bond. Now, this is of course an iconic, classic representation. You have seen it in your textbook, you have seen it when your instructor draw that in class, you have seen it a million times on every video out there. But how would you approach a drawing of a 3D representation of a molecule with, let's say, multiple pi bonds? Let's say we needed to draw a 3D representation of butadiene, this molecule over here, showing 3D orientation of our pi bonds and our p orbitals as well. Well, let's use a similar approach to what we have done above, where I'm going to show my carbon skeleton first, looking like this. I will also add my hydrogens on dashes and wedges where they belong in this molecule. I will add the first pair of p orbitals making the pi bond on my left double bond, and I will also add the second pi bond showing the p orbitals on my carbons as well. So I have a pi bond number 1 and I have a pi bond number 2. And I also want to point out that in all of these drawings I'm only showing the shapes of my orbitals and not phases. Technically, whenever we are drawing our p orbital, we should be showing something like that, where we have 2 different phases for our p orbital going through the node. That would make our picture very difficult to comprehend and it's going to be rather cluttered, so I'm only going to be concerned with the shape here rather than with the phases. Of course, if you want to add the phases, you can definitely do that when you are drawing your own orbitals. Now, coming back to my butadiene here, I want to point out something very important, and that is the fact that the double bonds in our butadiene are conjugated, which means that they do participate in resonance with each other. And since the bonds are conjugated, the orbitals that participate in that conjugation in resonance, they must be in the same plane. So whenever I am drawing my green orbitals over here, and when I'm drawing my blue orbitals over there, I'm showing both of those orbitals, or all 4 of those orbitals, all in the same plane, like so. Which means that I should also be showing the interaction between the orbitals right over here. Because in reality, we no longer have isolated double bonds, we have double bonds that are conjugated to each other, so they all make one large molecular orbital. So when you are drawing your orbitals, do keep that in mind. And again, this is probably a picture that you have seen a million times in your textbook, in your study materials, everywhere. But even though it is a relatively simple molecule, we already have a bit of awkwardness with that, and namely the awkward position of that middle bond between my middle carbons that I am pointing at right now, because technically I should be drawing that in a wedge like that. But then I have one wedge and then I have another wedge right next to each other, and it just doesn't make any sense. So as soon as you start drawing a more complicated molecule, then you are going to be facing a significant challenge how to orient this molecule in space in such a way as to draw everything with reasonable bond angles, with reasonable 3D orientations, and not have some sort of awkwardness like what we have already here in this case. And how would you deal with a more difficult molecule? So that seems like a recipe for a disaster, especially since 3D is complicated enough as is. So hear me out, because I have a solution for you. I have a different approach to draw your orbitals in 3D. Instead of drawing that as a view from the side like your textbook would do that, try to do a view from above instead. And now the molecule is going to be in the plane of paper, while our orbitals are going to be piercing through the paper. Let me explain what I mean. If I look at my molecules from above, all of my carbons here are sp2 hybridized, which means that they all have trigonal planar geometry. And since we have trigonal planar geometry, this entire molecule is going to be flat. So if you draw it like this, when it is flat on the plane of paper, then we are not going to have to draw any dashes or wedges for our atoms. Which does, however, mean that whenever we are drawing our p orbitals and our pi bonds, those guys now are going to be going through the paper. So I have my first pair over here, and I will show the overlap like so. And I have my second pair over there, and I will show that overlap too. And I will also, in addition to that, show the overlap between all of those orbitals because they are all conjugated. So now the molecule is in the plane of paper and orbitals are at 90 degrees to the plane of paper. Sure, it does look a little bit awkward and it looks a little bit strange, probably because we don't usually show those like that in the textbook, but that does allow you to avoid the awkwardness with your stereochemistry this way. Ultimately, it is of course up to you how you want to draw your molecule, unless of course your instructor gives you a specific requirement for how to draw that. But no matter how you choose to do it, your drawing must be unambiguous. If you are drawing your molecule and it is kind of questionable how exactly your groups are oriented in space and where exactly those orbitals are, well, then we have a problem. Then you're most likely going to lose points on the exam, and you yourself probably not going to even understand what you drew there. Often, we need to draw those systems for the further analysis, so if your system is drawing in such a way where you yourself cannot understand where things are pointing, well, then probably you won't be able to do the analysis of whatever sort you need to do there. Especially if you have like multiple orbitals and you have electron pairs, pi bonds, and anything in between. For instance, let's say I have this acetamide over here and I need to draw the 3D representation of this molecule, specifically showing the pi bonds and p orbitals. The first thing that I'm going to notice here right away, that right over here I do have a pi bond, so that does mean that I will have to show that pi bond with my 3D representation somehow. But another thing that jumps at me right away is this electron pair over here. And the reason I want to point out that electron pair is that this electron pair is a part of the resonance over here. It is a delocalized electron pair. And if I have a delocalized electron pair, it means that that electron pair must be sitting on an unhybridized p orbital. Overall meaning that this nitrogen is going to be sp2 hybridized and the carbon is also going to be sp2 hybridized, which means that this entire portion of the molecule over here all going to be planar. All of these atoms, carbon, carbon, oxygen, nitrogen, and both hydrogens on the nitrogen, they all are going to be sitting in the same plane. So when I'm drawing my molecule, I'll need to make sure that I'm drawing that appropriately. And just as I showed a moment ago, there are two ways how we can do it. We can do this side view, in which I will draw the stem for my molecule kind of like that, showing the double bond on the dash, which is definitely a very awkward experience. Now, this carbon over here, well, that guy is sp3 hybridized, which means that when I'm drawing the orientation of the hydrogens around that, well, I'm not even sure how to exactly do that. We'll probably put one hydrogen in the plane of paper, then another hydrogen hiding away from us, and the last one, I guess, will make it look even more at us, something like this. But then I again have this situation where I have one wedge right next to another wedge, so that is definitely going to be awkward. Now, drawing my pi bonds and p orbitals, so I have p orbital on the oxygen, p orbital on the carbon making a pi bond, and we also have the p orbital on the nitrogen where the electron pair is going to be, so we have the resonance interaction between all of those. So I will show the interaction over here, and then I guess I will also show the interaction between those orbitals like so. Now, we also have a couple of electron pairs on the oxygen there as well. How exactly to show those? That's even better question, because technically those are going to be in the same plane with the oxygen, carbon, and nitrogen, so I could possibly show them on maybe like on one on plane line, on one on the another plane line or something, dash or wedge, I don't know. That's why I'm saying that view from this side can be very awkward to draw when you have multiple pieces in your molecule that do need to have stereochemistry. But now let's try to do that view from the above that I showed you a moment ago. Since the majority of my molecule here is planar, I will redraw my molecule pretty much as is, only showing dashes and wedges for my sp3 hybridized carbon over here. Then it is actually relatively easy to show the proper orientation of the orbitals with the electron pairs on the oxygen. We can show that one orbital is going to be looking in this direction and the other orbital is going to be looking in that direction, and all of that still is in the plane of paper. So now when I'm drawing my p orbitals making my pi bonds, I have these guys on the oxygen and carbon, and I will show the interaction between those ones. And I also have another one on my nitrogen. I will show it right over there like that, and I can show the interaction between those orbitals as well to show that they're all conjugated together in one resonance stabilized system. So this way, yeah, my orbitals look a little bit awkward, but the rest of the molecule I have proper bond angles and I don't have any ambiguity with my bonds, and I don't question where things are 3D wise. I know exactly where the electrons are, I know exactly where my oxygen, carbon, nitrogen, and hydrogens are. I have a very clear picture space-wise in 3D how the molecule looks like. So as you can see, both methods have benefits and drawbacks. Which one is better? Well, in my opinion, neither is superior to the other one. So give both a try and see which one works better for you and the way you draw your molecules. As I've mentioned earlier, the key here is to avoid any kind of ambiguity. So practice both methods and see which one works better for you. And of course, thank you for watching. If you like this trick drawing your orbital sideways, give this video a like. And of course, if you want to learn more organic chemistry on a regular basis, subscribe to the channel, check out this video next, and I will see you next time.